Welcome to this special Italian wine podcast broadcast. This episode is a recording off Clubhouse, the popular drop-in audio chat. This Clubhouse session was taken from the Wine Business Club and Italian Wine Club. Listen in as wine lovers and experts alike engage in some great conversation on a range of topics in wine. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. And remember to subscribe and rate our show wherever you tune in.
Hello, everybody. My name is Stevie Kim, and this is the Italian Wine Club on Clubhouse.
Ciao, Stevie.
Hey, Anna. How are you?
Great.
And Laika. Ciao, Laika.
Ciao, Stevie.
All right, so we have a small audience today, but as you know, this will be replayed on Italian Wine Podcast, and we have been getting huge listens for the Ambassador's Corner. Today's Ambassador's Corner is the fireside chat with Alessandro Medici, Baby Medici. Alrighty, so today, let me tell you a little bit about the Ambassador's Corner. This is where our Italian wine ambassadors get to choose their favorite wine producer, and they do a deep dive interview, more like a fireside chat, with their favorite Italian wine producer. And today we have with us Anna, and let me see if I can say this correctly, Anna Obuhovskaya. Is that correct?
Yes, Stevie, that's correct.
Can you say your name?
Anna Obuhovskaya.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit different. Obuhovskaya. So
Right.
Anna is based in St. Petersburg, and she has about 13 years of experience in wine marketing and sales. I understand she's worked at Luding, Nesco, Joia, Metro, Cash and Carry, and she was actually the best cavist in 2011. She has this title. Of course, she is here with us today because she is our Vinitaly International Academy. She had participated in that last year, the flagship edition, and her current project includes holding seminars for the Saint-Petersburg Sommelier Association, specialized in Italian wine, and Italian wine tasting club. And she's the founder, so clearly she loves Italian wine, and she is now going to interview Alessandro Medici this evening. So Anna, why did you choose Alessandro Medici as your favorite producer?
Well, Stevie, when I studied at Italian Wine Ambassador course in Verona in 2021, I learned a lot about Lambrusco, and that it is the oldest family of grape varieties in Italy. There is a DNA study that showed that close connection between Lambrusco grape variety and wild vine. And Lambrusco was once domesticated by tribes that lived in the territory of modern Italy, but the fact that this grape is still there for quality wines in Emilia-Romagna really amazed me. We can observe the transformation of the Lambrusco style within past decades, and Medici family is a good example for that, because 5 generations produced wine. Style of Lambrusco changed from rustic wines in the 50s to the trendy and really high quality Lambruscos of today. And Concerto Lambrusco that Medici Ermeto makes is released in 1993, and it's considered the first Lambrusco from a single vineyard. Can you imagine that? And it's made from Lambrusco Salamino. And it was really the turning point for the Medici family, because Concerto is valued by wine critics, and it is for sure one of my favorite Italian wines. And it's really a good example of a friendly wine, very bright and fruity, but at the same time complex and well-balanced. So for me, Medici Ermeto is a good company that in avant-garde of Lambrusco production today.
Oh my God, I feel like you're part of the Medici family already. You're so enthusiastic. Nobody gets that excited about, anything. But listen, Anna, so how did you meet? How did you discover the Medici Almette wine and winery and the family?
Well, I first tried Concerto Lambrusco at a seminar that we held in Verona.
Also, that was your first time?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's so exciting. So we introduced you to Medici Almette.
That's right. And that's where I met Alessandro, because he came for the seminar to speak on Lambrusco. And before that, I only read about this family grape and the differences between Grasparosa and Salamino and Sorbara and so on. But the first time I actually tried these different Lambruscos was Verona. So
Wow.
we tasted Concerto, and I was amazed by the quality of this Lambrusco, of this fresh, fruity style, lively character, smooth tannins, and great balance. I put 3 exclamation mark in my tasting notes that day. And Alessandro was very passionate about his region and his wines and his family history. So, to my point, he's the best ambassador for his family estate. And later that year, in September, I had a chance to visit Medici Ermeto winery and walk in the vineyard where Concerto is made. I met the generous and hospitable Medici family members. We sat on a beautiful terrace and tasted various wines they made, accompanied with this beautiful prosciutto, parmigiano reggiano cheese, homemade spinach pie. And that tasting had really big impact on me, because I realized that Lambrusco is not just nice wine, but it's greatly matched with local food, uh, and was actually good with nearly any food you could think of: antipasti, pizza, pasta, lasagna, other traditional Italian dishes. But also, it goes very well with Thai and Indian food. And I also realized that it should be great in restaurants' menus back home in St. Petersburg. But unfortunately, I saw very few Lambruscos in restaurants lists, in wine lists back home recently. So sommeliers in general didn't consider Lambrusco to be an interesting wine category. So when I came back home, I had this sharp feeling that I have to share something very important with other sommeliers. So in our wine community, we know very little about quality Lambruscos and its interesting historical case. So therefore, I organized a seminar for Saint-Petersburg Sommelier Association on Lambrusco wines, and I invited Alessandro to join us via Zoom. I also invited Alberto Paltineri from Modena, and he spoke about his wines as well. We tasted all high quality Lambruscos that imported to my country. So we compared styles of Modena and Reggio Emilia. We tasted wines from Venturini, Baldini also. So shall I say that sommeliers were really surprised by the quality of wide range of Lambrusco? Yes, they were. I was really happy to share that great experience with them.
Okay, excellent. It sounds very promising for a career in Lambrusco. As we always talk about learning objectives because we do try to give some educational value in the calls that we make for Italian Wine Club. What are the learning objectives that we should expect from you today?
Well, as I see it, there is a very curious case about Lambrusco wines. On one hand, there is historical context, DNA researches that provide us with historical perspective on autochthonous varieties, and we are rethinking the significance for winemaking. But on the other hand, there are modern trends. Sparkling wines are highly demanded, you know. So today, winemakers return to grandfather's methods and upgrade them. So there is no insignificant variety, but it's all about the approach to it. Not everybody knows that Lambrusco wines, all three For Lambrusco wines, all three methods are used: Ancestral, Charmat, and Metodo Classico. And I hope we discuss it today, and I think it is important to learn where traditions meet the new wave of winemaking. So these
Excellent.
are the objectives.
So we're looking forward to that. Before I hand over the mic to you, Laika, did you want to say anything? Laika, by the way, as you know, she's our clubhouse manager for Italian Wine Club. Laika, are you back in?
Yeah, hello. Hi,
Hello.
everyone. Yeah, I'm still having this Abioka moment because we really had a huge lunch this afternoon. It was really good. Um, and I wanted to say something first. If you are interested, especially for the Italian wine ambassadors, to moderate for the Italian wine ambassadors corner, you can send me an email or send me a message here at support@italianwinepodcast.com. So, yep, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's there. She's Laika speaking to you, to Shaw, Carrie Wong,
Exactly.
Fanny. You did once, of course, Jody as well. Jody, one of the more popular replays on Italian Wine Podcast. Congratulations to you on that. So if you'd like to host another room, please get in touch with Laika, and also info@italianwinepodcast.com. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. So over to you, Anna, and then you can introduce Alessandro. I'll be listening.
Great. So please let me welcome Alessandro Medici. Ciao. It was great to see you at Vinitaly.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for this invitation. Wonderful opportunity.
Yes, I think your case is really interesting, and Medici Hermete is a really nice producer. So please tell me, how did your story of a wine producer start?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just thank Stevie and the whole Vinitaly International team, because what you said about your activity in St. Petersburg is just an example of how powerful is the VIA network. You know, the Vinitaly International Academy network. We got so many contacts with this academy, so this is absolutely beautiful. Anyway, to answer to your question, my story, like wine producer, started like many other producers that comes from family business. I was born in the vineyards. My family was used to bring me in the vineyards, in the office, in the cellar. My father brought me with him in so many business travels, in Japan, in United States. So I discovered this world very young during my studies, of course. Then I did some activities outside of Italy, just like personal experience. And then I studied at gastronomic university in Pollenzo, in Piedmont, in the Barolo and Barbaresco area. And then I entered officially with a contract in the winery almost 5 years ago. So it's just a normal story. My passion came very, very early in me for wine, especially for my land. I always loved Emilia Romagna. I think that Lambrusco producer are really, really connected to the Emilia Romagna land. And then, I did an interview last week, and one sommelier asked me, please give us some wise advice. And I told her, I'm just 27. How can I give some wise advice? To be wise, to do many mistakes, and this is just what I'm doing. I'm doing many mistakes in the company with our teams. We do so many different projects. We make many mistakes. Sometimes they go well, sometimes they go in a bad way, but in this moment in our company, in our winery, there is an amazing atmosphere, and I'm very happy to of my choice, of course.
Yes, indeed. You have a very nice atmosphere among your family and among people who work for you. So that's for sure. And can you please tell us how the style of Medici wines, Medici Hermete wines, changed within decades, and why it has changed?
Of course, yeah. Medici Hermete is one of the most historical winery in the Emilia-Romagna region. This is a sentence that I heard so many times from producers from Italy, but it's true. And we saw the history of Lambrusco. That is, I think, a beautiful story because it's really connected to the story of the Italian wine. Because, as you probably know, Lambrusco was one of the first Italian variety to be exported together with Chianti and Soave. It was around 1965, and Medici Hermete at the time already exported in Germany and the United States. And Lambrusco had an unbelievable commercial success between 1970 and 1980, even more than Prosecco today. And the original style of production of Lambrusco was dry, as you said previously, and the method of production is a method that today we call ancestral method, but at the time it was the unique method of production of Lambrusco. So with this second fermentation in the bottle, and at the end of this fermentation, we sold the wine with the yeast inside, and the wine was completely dry. So with 0 grams of liter of sugar. Then Lambrusco represented an unbelievable commercial success for our land. I said even more than Prosecco today, because Lambrusco producers between 1970 and 1975 and 1985 sold millions of cases, not bottles, I mean cases, million of cases. Lambrusco was everywhere, was the most famous wine, Italian wine, of course, outside of Italy. It was everywhere. Also, advertising on television. It was very, very popular. And at the beginning, Lambrusco was considered cool. It was, the sparkling Italian wine, because Prosecco was just a very local wine. Franciacorta didn't exist. So there was just Lambrusco, and it was considered cool. Then, between 1970 and 1980, we started in Emilia-Romagna, but also in other regions in Italy, we started to produce with the Sharma method, so with the steel tank. So we started to change the way of production, and unfortunately, some Lambrusco producers invented the sweet Lambrusco, the Lambrusco Amabile, it was called, with a high level of sugar. I mean, very, very high at the time level of sugar. And that product, that wine, was just a commercial invention that had an unbelievable success, but it was very different from the real Lambrusco. And then, the palate of the consumers started to understand that that Lambrusco was very bad. The quality of that Lambrusco was very bad. So they started to recognize that Lambrusco was very bad. So the Lambrusco market, from million and million of cases in few years, becomes 0. Even the restaurants in our area, the restaurant that was in front of our winery, our office, didn't want write a Lambrusco in the menu because it was considered a shame. And my father, the third generation, entered in the winery exactly in that period. It was the period of the sweet Lambrusco. So he understood that it was necessary to change completely the philosophy of production of this wine. And he restarted coming back to the origin to make dry Lambrusco with a low level of sugar. And in 1993, that for us is a very important vintage, we started to make our concerto, that in English means concert. That is the name of our flagship wine, our flagship Lambrusco. That for us represents everything. It represents a pioneer of the Lambrusco Renaissance, because from that moment we started to, I say we, but I didn't do anything because I wasn't born. I was born in 1994, but our family and our team started to travel all around the world to explain to the world that the real Lambrusco was dry, not sweet. And nowadays we export in more than 70 countries around the world. We make Lambrusco with the 3 methods of production of Lambrusco, as you said, Sharma method, ancestral method, that is also called Pednat method, and with the Champenoise method. That is maybe the most elegant method to make a sparkling wines, the same method of production of Franciacorta and Trento DOC, but with Lambrusco grape.
Yes, that's very interesting. Could you say a few words about your baby, about Fermento Lambrusco, which is very new to the Lambrusco Medici Hermete producers? Can you say a few words how you came up with this idea and how it's made?
Yes, of course. Actually, what I told until now is not made by me. I didn't do anything of what I just told you. The first project that I did in the company, it was the first year when I entered in the winery, but I started to think this project at the university. It's a wine called Fermento. That is Lambrusco made with the Sorbara variety. Maybe later we are going to explain the differences between the varieties of Lambrusco, because Lambrusco is not a bad word. Lambrusco is not the name of a brand, is not a style of production. Lambrusco is the name of a grape. And Lambrusco grape is a family of different biotypes, a family of different varieties. One of these varieties is called Sorbara. It is maybe the most elegant variety of Sorbara with an unbelievable acidity. The acidity of Sorbara is every year the same of the acidity, the same pH of the Champagne area. And I started to make a wine with the Sorbara grape using the ancestral method. Before I told you that between 1970 and 1980, we started to make wine with the steel tank because it was easier. You could have the technology, you could control the temperature. But before the arrival of the steel tank, the common way to make Lambrusco in our area was the ancestral method. So we did a second fermentation in the bottle, like for the Champenoise method, like for the Champagne method. But at the end of the fermentation, we didn't make any dégorgement. We didn't remove the yeast outside of the bottle. We left the yeast inside of the bottle. So we sold a wine that was a little bit cloudy, let me say. Then between 1970 and 1980, we decided to stop making this method. Why? Because at the time we didn't have the technology. So sometimes we could sell, let me say, a bomb to our lovely customers because we couldn't control perfectly the pressure inside of the bottle. Nowadays, we have the technology to make this process in the perfect way. And I wanted to come back to the origin, making a wine with the same method of my grandfather. So when I entered in the winery, I decided to do this. And I had to ask about this project to my grandfather. It's been very hard, like everything in a family business, but nowadays Fermento is a beautiful commercial success. Every year we increase the production very slowly because it's still a very small production if we consider the numbers of our company. But we export that wine in more than, I would say, 17 countries. We're very happy with that.
Great. Well, that sounds like a very good success of a very modern and trendy wine. I tasted it myself, and I really enjoyed it. It's actually two way you can drink Fermento. First way, you don't mix it with the yeast. You just drink it as it is. And the second way, you shake bottle a little bit and make yeast mixed up with the wine, and that makes body even more full, even more fruity. That's a really nice trick you can make with wine, with this very wine. So Alessandro,
yes, exactly. You can choose. There is the rock and roll way or the normal way.
You work with your family members. Can you please tell and share this experience? What is the most important thing when doing business with family members?
This is a nice question. There is just one word, I think, is the organization. This is very important. There are so many different wineries that had problems with the generational transitions, between generation and another generation. One important rule that my father always told me is that your son or your daughter is not always an intelligent person, and I could be not an intelligent person. So you have to plan this and you have to organize everything. So the first rule, I think, is to have external people from your family in important positions in the company. This is very important. People that don't know anything about the internal things of the family, they not involved in the family. Then every single member of the family, I think, have to have a specific role in the winery, and all the members of the family have to respect that role. I think this is very important because we live in a period in which the one-man show no longer exists. My grandfather is a one-man show, was a one-man show. He's still the president of the company. He did the agronomic part, the enological part, the technical part, the commercial, the marketing part, the communication, the incoming. He managed everything. But that was, I think, the style of managing a winery that was good 30, 40 years ago. Nowadays, we live in a period where everything has to be very well organized, and I think that a winery nowadays is an ecosystem of different areas, and every areas have to be managed by a specialist of that area, because it's impossible to know everything, from the agronomic part to the commercial or the communication, or there are so many different areas. And I think that a well organized family business is also a happy family.
Well, indeed, that's very important that everybody in the family is happy. So another question about the family members. Who does what? Can you briefly describe?
Yes, of course. My father is the CEO of the company, Alberto Medici. Then there is my grandfather that is still in the winery. Every day is the first person that arrive. A wonderful character. He's the president. Then we have my cousin Pierluigi Medici, that is very important. He's an export manager, an area manager. He has the South America that for us is a growing area, very important for us. And then we have my aunt Alessandra Medici, and she is the responsible, the hospitality manager, let me say. So she's involved in all the hospitality programs. She's the responsible of our estate, where we have many tourists during the year, of course, before COVID, but now it's restarting again. And then she's the responsible of the wine shop. So, and then there is me. My title is the brand ambassador, and I am the responsible of the education of the people around the world about Lambrusco, about our land. So I follow all the promotional activities of the winery.
Wow, you do it in a very good way. You impressed me once, so that's how it all started. Yes, and I met your aunt Alessandra. She did a great tour on Acitaia, all these barrels covered up. It was really fascinating to see, to learn more about this tradition of making aceto balsamico, Modena, in that's really fantastic. There, I'm looking at your bottles, and they really look nice. Can you say a few words about who makes wine labels, who works on design for the bottles?
Yes, this is an important point of a winery. Before I told you that in the winery there are areas, and one of the area is, of course, linked with the communication part, and labels are an important part of the communication. And as brand ambassador, I should follow all the touch points between the brand and the business and the consumers. And labels are an important touch point between the brand and the final consumers. But I entered in the winery just 4.5 years ago. And our winery exists from more than 100 years. So when I entered in the winery, we had so many different wines. We have so many different lines. We have so many different concepts wines. So it was hard and it was wrong, I think, to change all the labels in the winery. So my job and the team that follows this part in the company is to try to balance the past, respecting the past, our roots, but bringing all these labels and all the new projects at the present and in the future. So we have an internal team that works with many different agencies, marketing agencies. All these agencies have a different sensibility. They have a different creativity. They have a different vision. And then we work with them when we have to think a new project. And we give to the agency many feedbacks of what we expect from the labels, from that wine. We tell them exactly what is inside of that bottle. We tell them the target of that bottle, and then we start to build new projects. So this is how the label of Fermento, for example, has been created. But is always is a compromise between the past, the present, and the future that we have to respect. We did many mistakes, as I said in the first answer that I gave you, But we also, I think, we did some good labels.
Alessandro, there are some questions for you coming in the chat, but let me finish my portion of questions, and I will ask you the questions. I will pass you these questions that our Clubhouse members ask you. All right. So, my next question is about sustainability. Do you think that it's what do you think of it on the first place, and how do you feel if you're doing any sustainability project for the winery?
Thank you for this question. Let me say that in our family, we have always had an ethical obligation. I told you that I am the fifth generation, so 5 generation, long story. And we always wanted to leave a company and a territory in better conditions than we found them to the future generation. And this is basically could be translated in to leave to our son and daughters a better world. We are not the world, of course, we are just one single reality. But for us, if every realities, every companies, small, medium, big, every countries, every families, every person could have the same philosophy, we really could have a big impact on the planet, and we really could leave to our son and to our daughters a better world. So everything starts from this concept. And before I told you that in our company we have many areas that have to take decisions and choices every day, but every choice that we have to take have to consider this concept about the sustainability nowadays. It's very important, and that's why we did an important project last year in 2021, a project called Generation 2031. So a project, a long-term project that became our commitment. A long-term project that lasts a decade between 2021 and 2031. A project that involves precise goals through concrete actions and the projects. And all these actions have to consider the three, thematic areas of sustainability. Everybody know this: environmental area, ethical social area, and economic area. And I can give you now, Anna, some examples of the actions that we are doing. For example, talking about the environmental area, we became completely certified organic. All our estates, we have 5 estates, 80 hectares of vineyards are certified organic. And this is a support to the biodiversity of our land. We don't use any single-use plastic in the company. Just a small example. We are calculating exactly our carbon and water footprint because we want to bring our carbon and water footprint close to zero in 10 years. Because in 10 years, we want to transform our company in a completely sustainable company. Let me do other 2 examples, very easy. Talking about the economical area, we are trying to do some practice concepts of circular economy. For example, during the vinification, we have many lees, many sediments, many skins that we don't use, that we usually sell very cheap to the distilleries. From last year, we started to do this, I think, beautiful project, working with a company in our region. This company gets all these sediments, all these skins, all these leaves that usually are considered waste. They transform, they work with these sediments, skins, and leaves, and they make organic compost. And we use this organic compost for our vineyards. So this is a perfect example of circular economy where a waste becomes an ingredient of your wine. This is very important, but we do so many actions that we already did, that we are doing, and that we will do in the next 10 years. And this for us, it's very, very important because as I just said, is that concept that I told you before is the base of all our choices.
Wow, that's really impressive what you just say about sustainability project. Yes, for sure. It's very important to leave land and vineyards for future generations and to keep them fertile, to keep the soils fertile for as long as possible. Well, it's very, very curious project that you're making. So just let me continue with a few more questions, and then we will go to the audience questions. Okay. Um, since you're talking about the future, can you share what's your vision on Medici Ermete Winery is in 10 years, for example? What do you hope it to be? What do you hope it to? Where do you hope to see your wines? In which countries and so on?
I have so many wishes, Anna. First of all, we have a slogan that is bringing Emilia Romagna. In Italian is much better, but the translation in English is bringing the Emilia Romagna to the world and bringing the world to the Emilia Romagna. Look, in this slogan, there isn't the word Medici Ermete and there isn't the word Lambrusco. Why? Because for us, Lambrusco and Medici Ermete represents a land, a territory that is Emilia Romagna. And what we want to do is to carry on with this mission to export our land, our wines around the world. Nowadays, we are in 70 countries, but we can do much better. We can add more countries. We can increase and improve our activity in the markets where we are already present. And then, in the same time, another very important activity that we really believe is the incoming. So bringing the world to visit us, to visit the food valley, Parmigiano Reggiano, balsamic vinegar, all the fresh pasta, bolognese sauce, Parma ham. I could do a seminar just on the food. The motor valley, we had the Formula One just 2 days ago in Emilia Romagna, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Maserati, Ducati. We are an unbelievable region. We are one of the most dynamic region in Italy. It's wonderful. This is another part of our mission. This is what we want to continue to communicate and to do, bringing the Emilia Romagna to the world and bringing the world to Emilia Romagna.
Wow, I just wish I could go to Modena right now. I love the cuisine of Emilia Romagna, and I love all this this great restaurants and this great local food and wines and the market and the people and this relaxed lifestyle you guys have. It's relaxed in comparison to mine. I assure you. Yes, Emilia Romagna is a great place to visit for sure, and I hope more and more people will come there not only for food but also for wine. Well, let me pass a question of Jody Hellman. She's asking you. Are you planning any trips to the USA soon? If so, where and when?
Oh, I was in the United States just 3 weeks ago, and I visited Chicago, then Dallas, then San Francisco, and then Los Angeles. We have another visit in June, but my father is coming, and we are going to visit Oregon and Colorado. And then I coming with our importer tour. Co-brand is our importer. I'm coming in September, and I'm visiting many cities like Chicago, New York, Washington D.C. for sure, Los Angeles, and I think another city. I'm coming to United States many times.
Sounds very promising. There is Christina Altea Reggi is raising hand. I'm going to turn on her mic. Christina, hello. Okay, she's now invited to the mic. Christina, are you going to ask your question? Okay, maybe. Okay, there's another. There's Federico, right? Federico, would you like to ask a question? Hello? Well, maybe something with connection. Well, let me then ask you another question. You spoke about the markets that are important. And do you think? What do you think what is your favorite wine? Not just among Medici Hermeta, but in general. What do you enjoy yourself?
Outside of Lambrusco, you mean? I love Nebbiolo because I lived there for 3 years. I was in Bra, that is 20 minutes from Serralunga, 20 minutes from La Morra, 20 minutes from those places, and I lived there for 3 years. So I met so many Barolo and Barbaresco producers. So it's a second home for me. So I love many wine areas, but for me, Langhe is part of my heart, is part of my life. I live there, so I would say Nebbiolo in general. Nebbiolo grape.
Nebbiolo grape, but is there some commune you like more?
Do you mean producer or Nebbiolo areas? Anna, do you mean producers or areas?
I mean, if you prefer Alto Piemonte or maybe Barolo or Barbaresco, which style of Nebbiolo you prefer? More powerful or more flower, more fruity? What do you prefer?
I prefer Barolo, but in not the most powerful way. So there are producers now that are working with very refreshing wines like Burlotto, Fratelli Alessandria, those kind of producers that are becoming more and more famous, unfortunately. Thanks God for them. That are so difficult to find now. So I would say Barolo, but not in the most powerful way.
Okay, I see. I have a very common taste. I like Nebbiolo. Nebbiolo is my favorite grape variety, actually, and I like I like it in not much powerful way. I like Alto Piemonte, Gemma and Gattinara. So those are probably my favorite ones, and I like Barbaresco more than Barolo, I would say.
Oh, fantastic!
It's always nice to discuss wine with wine people, but
And to drink, and to drink as well.
and to drink. True. Can you please say talk about some projects outside of Lambrusco area? What are your other wines that you make, not Lambrusco wine?
Okay, in this moment, our winery is totally focused on Lambrusco. We have also an estate in the Romagna area where we make Sangiovese, and we have also a project in the west side of the Emilia Romagna. So we cover all the region where we make wines like Bonarda, Barbera, Gutturnio that are varieties typical of that area of Emilia Romagna. But in this moment, the winery is totally focused on Lambrusco because this is the goal. Because we really believe that Lambrusco is one of the most contemporary wine that we can find. Why? Because the new generation of Soms, the young wine lovers, are searching for the drinkability, the freshness. They are searching for gastronomic wines, very refreshing. And I'm describing Lambrusco because Lambrusco has an unbelievable acidity. It's one of the most gastronomic and one of the most versatile wine that we can find in the world easily. It's hard for me to say that Lambrusco is the most important variety in the world, but it's very easy in the same time to say that Lambrusco is one of the most drinkable, one of the most refreshing, one of the most gastronomic, one of the most versatile wine that we can find in the world. So we are totally focused on the wine. If you talk to my personal project, I have a podcast that is called Juice It Up, that this week is in the top 100 podcast in Italy. But this is my personal project.
Juicy what?
Juice It Up. Juice It Up.
It Up.
And Stevie was a guest few episodes ago, but it's in Italian, Anna. So I don't know how is your Italian.
I'm learning. I'm honestly I'm learning Italian, and I hope next time I come back I can speak more
Fantastic.
more with my friends.
Great.
We have another question from Fermented Boss. That's a nickname, I guess. Alessandro, tell us the story of your DOP balsamic.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely. So
Alessandro,
first of
please.
all, hi. The fermented boss is a friend. Absolutely. And an ambassador of Lambrusco. But our core business, our business is wine, is Lambrusco. But then we have in the family an hobby. A hobby that I can't consider a business, is just a passion, a tradition that we have from more than over a century, and is the traditional balsamic vinegar from Reggio Emilia DOP. Long name, but an unbelievable product. If you go to Walmart, if you go to a supermarket, you can easily find some balsamic vinegar. But those vinegars are IGP. That it doesn't mean that they are not good. They are just very different from the traditional balsamic vinegar DOP. In the word traditional, there are 12 years of aging, because the industrial balsamic vinegar, the balsamic vinegar IGP, is made in few hours. The traditional balsamic vinegar that we make in our balsamic vinegar facility at our estate is aged minimum at least 12 years. Then, if you come to visit us, you can taste the 20 years old balsamic vinegar, the 25 years old balsamic vinegar, the 30 years old balsamic vinegar, even older than me. And we say that we do the balsamic vinegar, the traditional balsamic vinegar, for the next generation, because it takes so much time. It's made with the Solera method in these barrels with all different shape, different votes. It's an experience, and just one drop of that traditional balsamic vinegar is an explosion in your mouth.
True. Your aunt Alessandra said that producing balsamic vinegar is very difficult business because it takes so much time for the vinegar to be made. Do you think it is possible to keep the high quality and make it still profitable, make it a good business project with balsamic vinegar?
The traditional balsamic vinegar is profitable. It's profitable for the second generation that get the business. Because otherwise, if you Anna want to start a business of traditional balsamic vinegar, please don't do that. Or you are very rich, or don't do that. Why? Because you have to keep every year barrels of product for at least 12 years. So the second generation, your son or your daughter, will enjoy the product that you did for 12 years. Every year you have to keep a few barrels of this traditional balsamic vinegar, and then you have to wait at least 12 years. Okay, so after 12 years, the bottle that you sell has an important margin, because the traditional balsamic vinegar is very expensive. It's Emilia Romagna truffle. It's Emilia Romagna white truffle, because it's very, very expensive. But it's profitable in the generations. And then I have to say that is a very, very small production, Anna. So we're not talking about a million and million of small bottles. We are talking about thousands of bottles. Our annual production is 1,000 bottles, not 0.70 liter, but 100 milliliters. So it's very small, and we sell, and that's why we sell our balsamic just at our estate. In 2018, we had more than 10,000 tourists, so we dedicated our production to them, and also as a gift to our friends and to our customers around the world. So probably you will receive a bottle of balsamic vinegar for free.
Well, I must say I have a bottle of your balsamic vinegar at home, and it's such a pleasure. I use it once in a while for seasoning my salad and add just a little spirit of Emilia Romagna to my dinner. It's so delicious. Oh my God, it's unbelievable what a change this drop makes to the dish, to the salad or meat or vegetable, whatever I put it with cheese. It's also amazing. It's really great product indeed. So
thank you.
Well, wishing you good luck. So we're about to finish our session. So let me see if there are some other questions for Alessandro.
Yes, hi. Hello. I'm back. Hold on one second.
Yes, Stevie?
Yes, that's good. Congratulations. What a great session. I know I stepped away for a few minutes because, as you know, my middle name is multitasking. I understand there was a question for me, but let's get a question from Federico. Ciao, Federico.
Hello, everybody. My apologies for leaving the room so quickly, but I'm based in the Netherlands, and here it's dinner time. I was preparing dinner for my kids, and it was a little bit of a mess here.
No, so
The
you're
question that I
also
had was-
multitasking. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Usually men cannot do that.
Yes, I'm used to that.
Yes, so
I'm originally from Argentina, so I'm used to multitasking.
so hi, Federico. Have you got a question for Alessandra?
Yes, first I want to congratulate him for the enthusiasm. Being such a young guy is fantastic. And I'm curious to know what the vineyard or the company is doing to promote in the younger generation this feeling for Lambrusco, knowing that the millennial generation and below are more inclined to stop drinking alcohol or drinking a lot less with beverages that are very low in alcohol. What are they doing in order to promote this history, this feeling of Lambrusco in order to consume it, right?
Great question.
This is the topic, because we could talk for hours about sustainability and everything, but if we don't communicate to the new generation what is the real Lambrusco, we have a problem, So this is basically what we do in the company. We ask to ourselves what we have to do to arrive to new consumers, to explain to people that are less than 40 how to communicate Lambrusco. And then before I just said, I think an important thing that Lambrusco is an extremely contemporary wine. Why? Because the new generation of wine lovers, in my opinion, are searching for more drinkable wines, more refreshing wines, maybe with less alcohol too, as you said, more gastronomic, more versatile, and I think Lambrusco is the perfect is the perfect concentration of all these concepts. Lambrusco is, as I said, it's very hard for me to say that Lambrusco is one of the most important variety in the world, but it's very easy to say that Lambrusco is one of the most gastronomic, one of the most versatile. The alcohol level of Lambrusco is always around 10.5, 11.5. So it's limited if you think other important still red wines. And it's an extremely contemporary wine. Then the first thing that my father told me when I joined to the winery as a new generation, I wanted to do too many things, is that in the wine business we have to run the marathon, not the 100 meters. So it takes time and it takes a lot of promotion, and this is what we are doing around the world. We are going to the market, we are going to educate people, to communicate to the new consumers what is the real Lambrusco, because it's true that people over 50 have a wrong idea of Lambrusco, but people under 50, they just don't know Lambrusco. They didn't remember that sweet wines and cheap wines from the 70s because we weren't born. So this is what we are doing.
Great, Alessandro. Thank you so much.
But I have a follow-up on that, if I may. So, Alessandro, I mean, what are you guys doing? How are you communicating to the younger generation? That's all fine. Yes, we know the problem areas, but what are you guys doing? How are you stepping up your communication with the younger generation? Can you give me some like concrete examples?
One easy example, just taking an example from your last Vinitaly. You did a section with mixology, In some markets like British Columbia, we selected many bartenders and we are doing cocktails with Lambrusco. We don't have any problem if a great bartender select our Lambrusco to make a cocktail to mix with an unbelievable gin or to mix with an unbelievable other spirit. I think it's a great way to arrive to the new generation, to the new consumers. This is just an easy example, Stevie. Then locally we are doing many events dedicated to the new generation. I just did an example. For us, in some countries, like British Columbia especially, in Japan, we are working on this too. Cocktails are a good way to arrive to the new consumers, because usually a young guy, when go outside with his friends, usually order a cocktail outside of Italy, not a glass of wine. So this is an example.
That's interesting. Because there was a guy, I don't know if you know him, his name is also Alessandro, and he invented this thing called Barbera tonic. It was from Chinato, from not Barolo, but from Barbera, and mixed with tonic water. And he said this was it was an interesting way to introduce wine to the younger generation, because a lot of people come to the bar, because he owns a bar, he runs a bar in Piemonte, and he said the younger generation, they just ask for the spritz, aperol, or Campari, just because they don't know what else to ask, right? So he said by trying this, introducing Barbera, he said that this became a little bit more approachable. So I guess that you're kind of having the same idea in terms of how to make the wine more approachable for the younger generation.
Absolutely, Stevie. And let me add that with a bartender of Reggio Emilia, that is from a cocktail bar that has been nominated Best Cocktail Bar in Italy in 2000, I don't remember,
What's
19 or 18. We did the name of the bar is Jigger, like
Jigger.
the Jigger. Yes,
Yeah.
Jigger. Let's
Okay,
visit
Jigger.
that place. It's very cool. It's in Reggio Emilia, my hometown. We did a list of cocktails, premium cocktails. We don't want to work with the industrial cocktail bars. We are not the Aperol, brand.
Mm-hmm.
We are Medici Hermete. We have more than 100 years, so we have to have. How can I say? We have to choose not all the bars. Some bars we selected that target of bars, and we did a list of premium cocktails made with Lambrusco. So we give to our importers this list that they can use to their customers in their countries, and they can give some suggestion to the important bartenders of the city. You can make a Brusco spritz, you can make a Americano with Lambrusco, and Emilia Romagna Americano. We did so many different cocktails, and we are giving some ideas, but this is just an example.
That's interesting. I have Tushar in the audience who's working, of course, at various bars, wines, restaurants in Dubai and doing some consulting. I would love to hear from him sometime as well. Listen, it's I have to close up the room now because it's almost time. But Laika, did you want to tell us who's coming up next and when? Just
Yes.
so that I remind me.
All right, so it's going to be on Thursday. It's going to be another Alessandro. So Erin Demara is going to interview Alessandro Gallo. He's the winemaker of Castello di Albola in Rada and Rocca di Montemasi in Maremma. So that's going to be at 6 p.m. the same time.
Wow,
on Thursday this week.
You're butchering everything they tie in.
Yes.
And what about the week after? So that's this week, right? Thursday, the day after tomorrow, 6 p.m.
Yeah, 6
p.m. the same
For
time.
next week, we're still not sure. So it's still an open slot. So if Tushar, you would like to have a clubhouse with us, you are really invited. I sent you a message. Okay. No
All
pressure.
Right. Okay. You know, with the COVID and everything, there are we have to juggle a lot. Not juggle a bit nowadays, but that is kind of the sign of the times. Okay, Alessandro, Anna, thank you so much for joining us. Federico, great question. I think Christina had a question, but it was more of a reminder that I had tiramisu in the fridge that I have to take home. So that was it. I think that was the message. So thank you very much. Ciao ragazzi.
Ciao, Stevie.
I guess Thursday.
Ciao.
Okay, come back
Ciao.
Thursday, you guys, and it will replay on Italian Wine Podcast. Ciao ragazzi.
Ciao.
Buona serata a tutti.
Ciao, ciao.
Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
Hi guys, I'm Joy Livingston and I am the producer of the Italian Wine Podcast. Thank you for listening. We are the only wine podcast that has been doing a daily show since the pandemic began. This is a labor of love and we are committed to bringing you free content every day. Of course, this takes time and effort, not to mention the cost of equipment, production, and editing. We would be grateful for your donations, suggestions, requests, and ideas. For more information on how to get in touch, go to ItalianWinePodcast.com.